Hello and welcome to episode 74 of the Talk Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me this fine evening, as always, the one, the only, Mr. Perry Burkham.
Interesting story about the screws in those hinges.
I'd love to hear all about it, but I don't know if we have any time.
Why is that?
Because we have too many games to talk about.
That's true. This is episode 74, too many games to talk about.
Yep, it's the culmination of a lost episode plus a busy week, so we're going to have a lot of games to talk about.
It's Super Episode 73-2, The Lost Levels.
Boom. Yep, so instead, we're going to shake up a little bit here. We're going to open up, like we always do, with what we've been playing. We've got a bunch of games, I believe 4 games lined up to talk about. Then we're going to jump to a little breather, and instead of getting to the eShop Roundup, we're just going to talk some news, because we'll have a few pieces from last week that we want to touch on. Of course, if you already didn't listen to last week's episode, we lost the audio for some of it, so last week was a double interview, which was awesome. We had some really great interviews, but this week we're going to have double the news and double the games, and unfortunately the eShop Roundup had to go to the side, but we're going to touch on a big old eShop Roundup next week.
Yep.
Don't worry, we have not forgotten about the eShop Roundup, our favorite time of the week.
But we did figure out the plague, the curse.
Yep, we just came to the realization of why we lost the audio last week.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
That's because we did a mystery history.
Yeah, and then I just happened to think, okay, man, of course, you know, not to toot my own horn, but I did very well last week. I got it on like the 12th or 13th guess, and
no, I think it was like 11th or 12th. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt good. It was I knocked it out of the park. It was
you know what it is? What's
that?
It was it was the world even Stevens, because it was because the first time we lost it was because of mystery history, and it made you sound like a giblet head.
Oh, big time giblet.
You were happy to lose that. And now, when you could sound like a smart person that knows what he's talking about, they took it away.
The only piece of evidence I ever had to show I was a smart person, gone into the ether. Yeah, it was Donkey Kong Land, right? Was it 2 or was it 1? It was the first one.
Just the Ridge.
Yep, great game. Like I said, I got it. I nailed it. But yeah, so no more mystery history. It's the end. We've given up.
It was such a good one too. I had such good hint questions and.
Yeah, no, it was great. No, there will be mystery histories again in the future. But what we should do is save it like
Google
4 times. Yeah. Live recording.
We seriously should. I'll be like, we'll spring it on each other and then like, okay, get in the Google Hangout.
And that's the only part of the episode that has like the crappy Google audio.
Yeah.
Hangout audio,
Yes.
But enough of that BSing, because we've got plenty of games to talk about, and this first one you've got lined up, I know has my interest piqued, as I'd imagine many as well are interested in this one too.
Yes, this is a game that kind of slipped past the radar, I feel, because in the midst of a ton of amazing releases, and that game is simply known as Owlboy.
Yes, sir. Now, give me the rundown. What is this game, Perry?
Well, for the second time, I can't believe you don't remember from last week, but
shh.
Owlboy is a 2D platformer, open worldy kind of. It's parts. It's kind of like parts Metroidvania, parts Kirby, kind of. Parts shooter.
So it's easy?
It's not easy.
I know.
Actually,
that was the Kirby part. I was just poking fun.
No, I got you. I say Kirby because you can fly.
Well, you are an Owlboy.
Yes, you're an Owlboy. So it's the thing that needs to be said more above anything. it's the most important part of this is that it is so amazingly gorgeous, like or not genre, like style defining pixel art, like amazing.
You know what I find the most fascinating about the pixel art, and granted this is just some screenshots, I have not played the game yet, but is just the attention to detail in like the foreground and the background with the clouds, or up front with even just like the extreme detail of shadows and stuff on rocks or the grass. It's just really, they didn't leave any stone unturned, you know. They really went to town with it.
And you have to understand that when you see screenshots, you'll see, oh, this game is gorgeous. But then when you're playing the game and you're seeing the animations, oh my goodness, everything is just perfect. I mean, it's just perfect. Like the grass shining from the sun and blowing in the wind, like slightly, in some parts more than others, and then everything. And they do really cool things, like you said, with the foreground, the background, because they call it a vertical. It's a vertical world, so you're going up and down a lot, like instead of left and right. I mean, there's plenty of left and right, but
no, I know what you mean. The main focus. There's a lot of verticality.
Yeah, and the main hub world that you're in is like a city in the sky, you know, like kind of like Skyward Sword a little bit. And the background is, the clouds are like amazing. Like just the clouds, and there's different layers, and as you're going, you know, and the what do you call it, the parallax, like
scrolling,
it moves like scrolling. Yeah, it's so good. And to accompany the art, I mean, it's not just like nicely animated, it's beautiful, and it's matched with this story that is really good too. I mean, it's about, so the Owlboy, his name is Otis. He starts off in like training, like owl guard training.
Isn't that how Skyward Sword started?
Yeah, yeah. But in this training, he's learning how to fly and use his wings the best. And your teacher is like really brutal and like really gets down on Otis for not doing a good job. And is it like a drill sergeant like yelling at him, or just no, it's like the wise person saying, you can do better, like, I'm very disappointed in you.
I was just gonna say the old I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's more like, it makes you feel really bad for Otis. I mean, they really get like you're like stumbling, you know, like as you're flying, and it's just like, you know, the teacher's just like, you know, just stop, like, you know, you
why
should feel
even bother?
ashamed. And yeah, exactly. And like poor Otis just wants to be, you know, he wants to do good, and to top it off, he's a mute. So he's kind of put as the little guy that's being picked on all the time.
That boy can't do anything right. He can't speak and he can't fly.
That boy ain't right. That owl ain't right. But
Peggy!
you hey, peg leg. He does have a friend, Getty, that you meet, and Getty's this kind of guy who likes to work on this big cannon for the town as a defense, just in case the pirates attack, you know, that kind of thing. And he's almost got it done, but he likes gizmos. And then so this is where the first part of the game happens, where you the big part of the gameplay is picking up your friends and using them for like a certain they can do. Man, I am
skills.
I'm not feeling good. Yes, skills.
Now, yeah,
I
when
forgot
you say
the word skills.
It's been a long week for Perry. He's working like 14 jobs, reviewing a couple games on the side. You know, he's keeping busy. But
I can't remember. I need more information.
Now, when you see when you say that, the first thing that pops into my mind is Donkey Kong Country 2, going through those like B levels when you're the parrot and you're carrying them. Is that and you sort of spit the little like, I don't even know what that parrot spits. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like I want to say like a hairball, but I know it's not a hairball from
that. But I think you actually even get into, like, you turn into the animal, right? In those games.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
No. You carry him.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's kind of like that.
They do have some transformations, like the rhino. What?
No, you ride on the rhino.
Yeah. Okay.
Rambi.
I know. All right.
Rambi should have his own game.
The swordfish you definitely turn into, right? And then you sort of...
No, you ride the sword... In the original, you ride the swordfish. But there's like... I feel like maybe it's in the Game Boy ones, you actually just turn into him to make it simpler.
Yeah.
And probably easier on the processing. And maybe in the third one, you turn into him?
Maybe, yeah, because the parrots definitely carry them. Yeah, maybe maybe they just... I mean, it makes sense. Sort of
anyway, so you're now here's the thing is when I said that like Otis was failing his school and stuff like that. I mean, once you get out of it, he can fly perfectly fine. I mean, there's no like he can stay in the air as long as he wants. I mean, there's no limit to his flying. So that's just kind of like at the beginning to kind of set the character. But as you pick up your friends or just your friend, he has the gun. Getty has, I think his name's Getty. Sorry if I'm forgetting that, but he shoots a gun. So that is your power. Your power up is you can shoot. And so at the beginning, you're picking them up, and then you can control the gun, and you can aim it kind of 8 directions, and move it around. So it kind of plays a little bit at times like a shoot 'em up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like not in
I know what you
level
mean.
sense.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is. It's
shoot
really
'em up
cool.
light.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like integrated into the platforming, so it's really good.
I like when games do that, when they sort of mix in sort of elements from another genre.
Yeah, and so that's really big on this. This game is kind of the reason I know that you're gonna dig this game, Casey. I know you will because it's exactly what you always like. It's very linear, and but like it's always introducing new locations, but new aesthetics.
Yeah,
new
like the snow area or the desert area. But maybe not necessarily
and not just that, but like new enemies, new things. Like, okay, these people invade, and you have to do stealth now, and then you find someone to carry who has this amazing ability, and then you use that to break out of something, and then you continue through the story. Then you meet new characters that might. Well, I don't want to get into the spoilery stuff, but you meet new characters that have different abilities, and the way. So I know I mean, if you're thinking now, this is weird. Like, are you gonna like carry all of them like on your back or something?
Super piggyback rides.
Yeah. Well, the end of the first, not dungeon, but you know what I mean. Kind of the first trials with your guy, you find a teleporter thing. That you can that's how they use so that you can just teleport, and then you can like hit ZR, and that'll bring them right to like you'll be holding them, and then you can hit L, and then you can swap between the characters.
I was really hoping you were like
use their...
Now I know you're all picturing. Well, does he carry them all? And in fact, yes, he does. And just, the whole gang's traveling around.
Yeah. And it's very interesting when you're using the different things because, like, for instance, you're an owl and you're holding something beneath you, right? So you're pretty tall, like, and some of the characters are huge. So you got to remember that it doesn't matter if the friend that you're carrying, it doesn't matter if they are if they get hit. But the thing is that's where you're shooting from. So it's really weird. Like you have to train yourself to like
get the right positioning,
not get the owl hit, but it's okay if if the thing that you're shooting from gets a hit. Yeah, I mean on top of the visuals, the story seriously is great writing. I mean, Zelda caliber writing, really, like it really is. I mean, it's really great. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're overstepping or over pushing or pretentious or anything. I mean, it really seems like really like this person knows what they're doing, and it's just it fits perfect. You have some great characters, great characterization from the characters, like animation to everything. And then the third thing, the music is it's this beautiful symphonic score that is just perfect. I mean, it's amazing, and I believe that you can buy it, I think, off iTunes, the OST or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I saw that was for sale. Yep.
Yeah, so definitely, Case, when you're listening to music, definitely put that in your thing.
I'll have to listen to. I'll have to check that one out tomorrow while I'm at work.
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah. So I mean, everything, there's the visuals, there's the story, there's the audio, all of that blends together amazingly. The gameplay, that would be the fourth aspect. The gameplay is really good. It's not anything groundbreaking at all. So that's where I would say, like, it's just not earth-shattering, where I'm, like, addicted to it. Mm-hmm. It's very, borrowing things from a lot of things you've known. And,
yeah, it's been done before, kind of.
Yeah, and I'm saying that, I'm just saying that because it doesn't matter, really, and that's big on me, because I mean the gameplay is great. Like, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's
well, yeah, I was
bad
gonna say,
or worse than everything.
I mean, it runs right and it feels right. It's just nothing earth-shattering as far as bringing in new elements. But like you said, that's fine as long as it works right, and like you said, it's got enough other elements that bring up the entire package to be something special. It doesn't need to rely on anything mechanically new.
Right, and it really, I mean, it feels like a Nintendo game if Nintendo came out with a Super Nintendo instead of a Nintendo 64, and they kind of kept to their pixels, their 2D roots. It feels like the next step. Now, there are some tricks they use too. I think there's some like scaling effects that just like even like the camera will pan out, so it won't exactly be always the same pixel density. But I mean, it's amazing. I mean, that's just for for the directing and stuff.
See, that's my hopes of like. That's my hope, that is Nintendo sees this kind of game, right? These kind of how great these pixel art can look if they really go into detail, And I want them to do that for the next Mario, like the next 2D Mario, obviously. Like do something crazy like that where it's just stunning pixel graphics, and then obviously that awesome level design that they're always good at. But like that would be my dream.
Totally. I would love that, or something akin to like Rayman Legends.
Yep.
Where they just go crazy. Yeah. Like, how crazy would a hand-drawn Mario be? I mean, like you think like Wario, right? Mm-hmm. That was hand-drawn in a different
style. That's like for sure.
Style, but like imagine like a hand-drawn in the sense of like Rayman with, oh man.
It's funny.
That'd be a sweet Wario game, actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's funny. I was listening to Kind of Funny Games Daily, and they were actually talking about like they wanted to see like hand drawn 2D Mario as well, and they sort of touched on Wario Land. And imagine that game, like an HD remaster of that game. It would look so good. Wario Land, that is, for Shaken.
Oh yes.
Because like it looks great on the Wii, but imagine that puppy in HD. Ooh,
yes, dude. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, out of any of the, I guess Kirby Epic Yarn, oh, dude, that would be amazing too. Oh my goodness. Imagine Epic Yarn in HD. I'll take that.
Or imagine 1,000 Year Door, like paper color splash, I should say.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. So, but anyway, we're getting off
Yeah,
getting off the track.
we got so many games to talk about, and yet here we are
Yeah,
talking
no.
about other
and we're
games.
like, imagine this. Imagine that. Oh.
I have no time to play any of these, but whatever.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I'm gonna have to scale back because on my games, but we all know that's not gonna happen. But here's the thing. This was introduced in the last episode of last week, but this is since the episode 73 was supposed to be the debut, but episode 74 is going to be the debut of a new Talk Nintendo thing. Do you remember what it is?
Why, no. Why don't you tell me?
Okay, well, I am pronouncing that Owlboy is a must-play game of 2018. Yep, I don't know how we're going to track this. I think we might have mentioned that there's 3 of those that we'll give out each or something.
Yeah, I forgot to. Man, it'd be nice if we had like an audio recording of the conversation.
I know,
no,
that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think it should definitely be a very, very select few.
Yeah.
Because clearly, you know, if you're saying it every week, it's not going to bring any merit to it.
Right.
Yeah, I think.
And this is in that club.
I should say there should be no minimum per se. You know,
Right.
you can do if Owlboy is the only game that you proclaim for 2018, so be it.
Yeah. And it might be.
But there should not be more than 3. I think would be the cap. I think after 3 you start to sort of diminish what it actually means. You know.
Yeah.
Especially if we each have 3, and then all of a sudden you're looking at like, oh, in a year they said you had to play 25 games.
But that might be true.
Well, yeah, but you know what? You got to pick 3 of them out of those 25.
That's right. So, but yeah, Owlboy is something to not let that pass you up. But actually, there is a reason that you might want to wait to download it. Unfortunately, I hate when they do this, but
yeah, we can touch on that right now. Yeah.
It is coming to physical in May.
Yep, May 29th.
May 29th. So you're going to be able to buy this game physically. And, you know, for people who like physical boxes, that's something to hold on to. And it's just a very special game that I believe took like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, super long development.
Produce.
Yep.
And the thing is like when you play the game, you'll be like, I can't believe it, you know, it took less than 15 years. You know, I mean, it's amazing. The amount of detail into everything. It's a feat like no other. It's amazing.
Boom. So. Heck yeah, man. I am totally looking forward to it. Like I said, I was going to pick it up. Probably, I was not necessarily right away, but I was planning within the, you know, foreseeable future. But now that we've got a hard release date for a hard copy, I'm going to definitely be waiting till May to pick that one up.
Yep, you lucky piece of crap. You and SteamWorld Dig 2.
That's right, baby.
Oh, man.
They call me the physical wrangler.
The physical wrangler.
That sounds like a predator.
To catch a physical wrangler.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so we and I should mention they sent us a code for Owlboy, the people at D-Pad Studios. So that was really cool of them to do. Thank you for supporting Talk Nintendo Podcast. You guys are the coolest. And to piggyback on that, Casey,
it is a little interesting, and that is Mercenary Kings. So what this game is, all right, we'll start it off. You jump in there and you sort of get to pick your character, and you can sort of change it a little bit. They have a couple different like palette swaps because this is definitely focused on a multiplayer game, you know, online or local. So I guess they already planned ahead, like, oh, same characters, at least you could tell them apart. And what you do is you sort of dropped into this little town, right? And there's different people around it, and they each sort of serve a purpose. Like, there's like, obviously you got your vendor. You've got someone who can do modifications to your character's like abilities. You've got one that modifies your guns, and you could add different parts and stuff to them. Then you've got like the online, and then you go to like the lieutenant, and he sort of has a list of missions you could pick from. And then what you do is there's different ranks. So you start off as private, and you do a mission, and then you sort of unlock a couple more. And then you can sort of pick, but essentially you're going to be working through the missions. And then what you do is you rank up, and then you unlock more missions, and you just sort of keep going through that progression. Each mission is, it sort of just has like random stuff. Like one mission might be to just go pick up, X amount of steel, you know what I mean? And you sort of kill enemies and they drop some steel, and there you go. Once you get your 4 pieces, it says, oh, you got, you completed the mission, we're going to bring you back to town. And then you jump back into town. And what you do is you sort of jump back into that same area, and then they have different objectives. So, kill X amount of soldiers. There's like, take this person hostage. Like the one mission, I think it was the final mission of the private rank, was like, you're going to go in here and you're going to fight this boss, essentially. But when it gets down low, throw this smoke grenade at it, and then you'll capture that person, and you can sort of find out some information. Like the first time I wasn't paying attention, so I just went in there and killed it, and I actually failed the mission, so I had to jump back out and jump back in. So yeah, but the weird thing is, it's like, it seemed like every single private mission was in that same area. Like, you'd be kicked back into the same area, and it's sort of, you would get familiar with it, you know what I mean? Be like, okay, I sort of get the lay of the land now. And how it works is there's like caves, you could go in, and you can go underground to some areas, and they've got like they almost like tree fort tents, like teepees, and not teepees, but like huts located around. And the enemies themselves aren't really too difficult. They just sort of, you have your enemies that literally just charge across the screen. They're easy to sort of dispose of. You've got guys who shoot ammo, or bullets, I should say. But they, like, very, very easy to dodge. There are a couple enemies, like this one sort of big guy with a big spear. He's usually pinned in, like, an area where you sort of need to go underneath him or over the top of him to get to a spot you can attack, and he'll thrust his spear at you, so that's sort of hard to dodge. But for the most part, the enemies, not too difficult. And the area themselves, I mean, they're fine. It's just nothing really jumped off the page of like, oh my god, this is so interesting to explore, you know what I mean? It was just like, okay, like, this is what it is. All right, they got enemies here, and I'm just sort of going in and doing these things. So it worked, no slowdown or anything. Everything was working properly, but it just didn't have that real, like, oh, I can't wait to go out there and do a couple more missions, you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait to go out there and fight some enemies. Just sort of like, oh, like, that was fine. It just felt like it was missing that one factor that sort of pulls you in, you know what I mean?
I mean, could that factor be that you were playing single player and it's kind of focused on multiplayer?
Now, it could be a little bit. I did try and jump online. The few times I did hook up with people, they would either leave before we started a mission, or like we got into a mission and they dropped out relatively quick. Now,
well, that's stupid.
Yeah. Now, what's strange is that I don't know how it would really affect it too much with more people, because I mean, maybe they have some more enemies scattered about, but I mean, none of the tasks seem like it would really, or at least the ones, and granted, I'm not super far into the game. Like I worked through private, and I was working through the second rank there. So, like I said, I haven't put a huge amount of time into this game, but it just, I don't know, if adding a second, third, or fourth person onto those missions, I don't see how it would necessarily be more fun. Maybe it would be more snappy, and, it's more fun, then you sort of hammer through these missions, and that's sort of the idea. Maybe.
Right. I mean, are there... So, You said there are bosses.
Yeah, at least the point I got up to. Yeah, there's like it wasn't like a huge hulking boss that would take a super duper long time.
Yeah.
But now there are a few things I really do like about the game. So as I said before, you sort of have your gun, right? And you can go in there and modify. You can buy different guns, and then you can modify the crap out of them, which is cool because I mean, so you start out with like
I love that.
whatever gun, and you can like add a stock, and you can add extra clip, and it sort of has just like to the left. Oh, if you put this piece on, your attack will go up 2, your accuracy or down 1, and it sort of shows you the different stats, how each item affects it. So that's a lot of fun to sort of get in there to customize your gun. Like I changed and I bought a shotgun, and it was like a two-shot shotgun. So you fire once and it shoots off 2 bullets, but they're super powerful. But you could add a really big clip to that. But then all of a sudden it goes from about 800 power down to like 150, because now instead of firing 2 bullets, with 2 haymakers, if you will, you're going to be able to shoot more, but they're going to be weaker. So you could play around with how that works, which is cool.
Okay.
And then when you're on the battlefield, I guess the most exciting part, I would say, is sort of the active reloading system. So when you reload, like a little bar goes above your head, and other games have done this before. I think like Call of Duty does it too, or did at one point, where you sort of hit reload, and then if you hit reload again within like the proper little time frame, it reloads quicker, and you get a little boost. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I think that's the those Xbox games.
Halo?
No.
Titanfall?
The other ones. No, it's the Aliens.
Oh, Gears
Invasion.
of War. Gears of War.
Yes.
Yes. That's exactly where it's from. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's fun. And like you said, if you don't hit it right, then all of a sudden you sort of jammed up, and it actually takes longer. Of course, you could avoid that. If you wanted, and just let it ride out. But it is definitely beneficial to sort of work with that.
Yeah, and I mean, and the visuals are awesome. I mean, I totally dig the pixel art in this game. It kind of reminds me of Scribblenauts.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, visually it looks nice. When you're getting out in the missions, like the areas look interesting. It's just sort of like there's some platforming and some, obviously there's enemies scattered about, but it just, like I said, I just feel like it's missing that one factor or something.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at the screenshots and I'm thinking it would be so much fun to be able to play this with you, like online, and like play through the levels and talk about stuff. And
yeah, I mean, if you were to pick it up, I would play with you, and who knows, maybe I would be singing a different tune. But
well, there's a reason that I would pick it up, and that would be the same reason as Owlboy with you.
She goes physical. Well, it is going physical, isn't it?
It's coming physical with limited run. Yeah, this is one of the 2 games that they announced. Coming physical with a reversible cover, may I add. Yeah, so I honestly, like, I think since you have it, when this comes out, I want to get it, because I want to play some freaking co-op games with you.
Well,
I mean, there's no games like that.
Well, that's why I really think Doomhammer might be a fun game for us to mess around with. Hammerwatch, Hammerwatch. It's so funny.
Wait, you did the same thing last week.
You know what? It's funny because I even thought about it. I'm like, yeah, Doomhammer.
What's Doomhammer?
I don't think Doomhammer's anything.
What is this?
Is Doomhammer anything?
You just make up this thing. Doomhammer.
Well, let's see. Okay, it's a weapon in World of Warcraft. Maybe that's where I'm pulling it from. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
but
that makes sense.
Yeah, Hammerwatch.
You just made up a word.
No. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Whatever. Shut up, dude. But no, like I said, funny. I mean, maybe it's more fun with some people. Like you said, maybe you blast through the levels more, and it's
you can play up to 4 players, right?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, I just remember Triforce Heroes and it not being fun.
Ooh, yeah, fun. But I could tell you this is no Triforce Heroes.
Yeah, because that was like
because you could see, could tell, like, okay, I get it, and like, if I have 2 more people, I don't have to do all the tedious work of moving everything around, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where this is more just like, if I have more people, it'd probably go quicker. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's more fun in short spurts and going through all the different, like, maybe you're supposed to blast through a rank relatively quick with 4 people, and it feels really fun to get in there, do that mission real quick, bounce out, upgrade your character, jump into the next one,
right.
you know? But
yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it kind of like Metroid, the
Federation Force?
Prime Federation Force, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, you know, we had so much fun with that, too. And I feel like that was a little bit more like Mercenary Kings, where I think it's you could still play it and you're like, well, what exactly are the players going to add? It's just kind of firepower and stuff. But I don't know, like.
But even in a couple of those ones, I feel like a couple of those missions definitely required more than one person for it to, like the sandstorm run. Remember that, or the lightning storm when you had to push the carts into the little like garage.
Let's play some Federation Force. That was great.
Oh, I thought you were too good for your 3DS these days, bruh.
I didn't say that. I asked what a 3DS was.
Yeah, but regardless, I guess you know, if you pick it up with limited games, their run, I will definitely jump back in and play with you. And who knows? Like I said, maybe we come back and I sing a little different tune, but. And I guess that's sort of.
But you're not too high on it right now.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not so down on it as much as I'm not just up on it, you know what I mean? It just, to me, it seems like a fine game to me.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
And
I know what you're saying. It's just not.
If you don't have friends to play with, I might think twice about it. But if you do have a group of friends to play with, then you'll probably be able to find more fun for sure.
And it's split screen too, correct? I mean, it's split screen 4-player.
I mean, so I have. You could play local. I guess that's how they break it up.
So that's cool. Now I wonder when you play online, if you can see the other, if you can see just like local, what the other players are doing.
I don't think so. At least when I was in with connected to people online, like.
Oh yeah, because you actually did get to play a little bit, right? And that didn't happen.
Yeah. So.
Right. Because now that I think about it, I was just thinking a game that's really similar, kind of, for co-op stuff is Spelunker Party. Weird game. Yeah, I mean that was like an interesting take on the co-op because it was like, well, you can do it by yourself, but the only reason that you'd have co-op is that you could do everything, collect everything way faster. And so I wonder if that would be kind of the same thing with this game with Mercenary Kings.
Yeah, it might. It might. We will find out one day. I have a feeling. So. Yeah.
I know that I'll pick it up because anything on Switch that I'm remotely interested in that comes physically, I will pick up. That's just like Rhyme and The End Is Nigh. I have those games now.
Yep, and I tell you what,
I haven't played them yet, but I know I'm going to pick them up.
Rhyme's going to be worth it, and we'll tell you why in a little bit when we get to the news section. But I guess I should also mention that Tribute Games hooked us up with that code as well. So again, thank you very much.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah, we figured we are getting some codes from developers, so we just wanted to sort of be upfront and transparent with you guys, you know, where it's coming from. But I don't think it should matter because we're unbiased. I don't think, you know, receiving a code we would feel any different about the game, you know, whether we bought it or got a code for it. So, but just for upfront and transparency's sake.
Mm-hmm. It's always good to be transparent, no matter what.
Unless you're doing something shady.
Shady? Like falling into a hole because there's no light and it's shady in the hole.
And there's a 2 in there, isn't there?
This is the best segue ever. that would be because I was playing a game called The Fall Part 2 Unbound.
Save myself.
Deviant AI be acquired.
Hi! Do not eject me before knowing the purpose of my intrusion. I would
Yes,
never do that.
yes, The Fall Part 2 Unbound. So let's pretend like lost episode doesn't exist. Casey, do you know anything about the Fall series?
Well, see, you know what's the beauty about, you know, this whole thing is I don't really pay attention to what you're saying anyway. So
you know what? I knew you were gonna say that because it's like the honest truth.
So
like I just knew you were gonna say that because the funny thing is like I was thinking about him. I'm like, Oh man, I hope he doesn't ask me about Mercenary Kings and assume that I listened to him last week. Because it's the same with me. I don't listen to what you say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm over here sort of just writing reviews, checking out Reddit.
Yeah.
All that jazz.
Playing some RPG for the Thirsty Mage.
I am pretty thirsty. But, no, I don't really know anything about The Fall, so why don't you give me a rundown?
I will. Okay. The Fall is this game. I think it was just called The Fall. The original one. Yeah.
The Humble Bundle game that probably everyone has?
Exactly. Everyone listening to this podcast probably is into the whole Humble Bundle Nindies deal. And they probably had it on Wii U, and they actually most people probably didn't have a Wii U, so they just have they probably have a code for it
somewhere in their Google Drive.
Yeah, and but yeah, it's this adventure game. It's really a very side-scrolling adventure game where you play as you fall down a hole. Okay, that's the premise. You got it?
Fallen, yes, got it.
Yeah, okay. You've fallen down a hole, and you control the suit of this person that fell down the hole. And the suit has an AI that is still intact, but the person inside of it is unconscious, and they're not responding. So what you're trying to do is you're controlling the
suit.
The suit, yeah, to get back to figure stuff out. At least, man, I am so like I'm fuzzy right now, but I'm pretty sure that was the premise of the first game. Sorry if that's off.
Just like not even the right game at all. Like
no, it's the right game. I'm pretty sure that's what the first game was. I mean, I'm like 90% sure. But and I always thought, that's a neat idea, because it kind of, the way you control is like, you walk left and right, but then you control a flashlight, and that's how you can see around in the dark, and it's kind of reminds me of like Super Metroid with the scan visor, where it's like, it's like a cone that you can move around, and then once you highlight things, you can interact with them, and that's how it's like the adventure game. The reason I was saying it's a funny idea because it moves really, it gives the game a reason to feel so blocky and kind of awkward as you're moving. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to have a realistic.
Is it sort of like tanky?
Breathing.
Like the controls, you mean?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's not
fluid,
like fluid and human, like like with breathing and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think it's a well, and I think the concept of that story is a fun idea, for sure. And so in the first game, you're in the dark and it's crazy, and you're figuring out what's going on, and you're interacting with things, and it just plays out kind of like a standard adventure game. And then like when you get into it, there's some action parts with where you're shooting, and it's kind of Metroid like, because you're in this map and you're moving up and down, but playing like an adventure game, which kind of sounds cool. A Metroid adventure game. Oh my goodness!
Isn't that Other M?
Dude,
I'm just kidding.
No,
I know. I never played Other M.
That's crazy. What if they did a Telltale Metroid game?
That would be insane.
That would be cool.
That would definitely be an interesting partnership.
Man, I didn't even think about Telltale doing Nintendo properties. Why haven't I thought about that? That'd be awesome. That after playing Batman, that would be so cool. As long as they fix their freaking save
I was going to say,
system.
yeah, until you realize it's running in that same poopy engine.
Yeah. But anyway, what was I talking about? The Fall. That's right.
No.
Sorry.
The Fall
so this
2.
is the first game. Yeah. No. Well, I just giving you that was the first game. Now. That was on Wii U, and now the second one is out on the Switch, and it's a direct sequel, obviously, and I don't want to be too spoily. They get into it at the beginning of it, but you have the suit again, and it's kind of like they do a lot of what's that? Cyberspace, like you're kind of in the cyberspace and as an AI, and you're trying to escape, and you're going into other robots, Okay, and you're kind of taking control of other robots.
Okay, so you're sort of jumping around.
Yeah, so you'll be in a location, and then you'll somehow figure out a way to get to this other location. And while you're in there, it's really cool. So what they've done in this game is they've really toned up the action, and they did it in a really good way too, which I'm so happy. I wasn't a big fan of I didn't hate it, but I wasn't a big fan of the original, of the action sequences. I like the first game actually a lot, but action wasn't my favorite. And they've made it a really cool. They have a lock-on system, more like Metroid. Like they really add a lot more. Now, this is in no way near the main gameplay of the game so far. But those are just kind of little sequences to really shake up the formula, like during the game, keeping it dynamic. I think it's great actually. Because I think this isn't from. I mean, obviously, this is not from some huge developer or anything. This is from a pretty small team, comparatively. So, I think that's really cool that they got it working. But the story is really nice and really creepy, and like the very first, well, not the very first, but like the first place where you're in the main, like it's like the first level. I'll just say the level. Just think of it in that way. You take control of a butler, okay? And so this butler has its daily activities, and so you have to like go and you control it, but you have to go and do his daily activities, and then basically you're figuring out where you are, what's going on. You have a goal, and you're trying to figure out how to get to it. And so you have to make the butler go into a separate AI, like a separate robot, so that you're controlling the robot by yourself, and that he can't see what you're doing, because he won't allow you to do anything out of the normal. So, for instance,
so you steal his mind and send it to someone else.
Yeah, you basically steal. Like you send his mind into something else, and you're control of his body.
Interesting. That's sort of cool.
Yeah, it is. And so, for instance, the first one, like sometimes you do it. So, like, okay, this is just an example. I mean, this isn't really what happens, but I'm gonna send him into that microwave. Because robots.
You're a monster.
Have microwaves. Yeah, and so while he's in there, I'm gonna change something in the room so that when he comes back, he's gonna see it and go, oh, I need to do something like it. My master has done something different. So he's really dedicated to because he's a robot and he needs to serve his master. Now you get into it, and this is a little spoilery. So if anyone's interested in this, skip ahead like 5 minutes. But I'll cough while during this. Giving you a chance to find the skip forward button. Once you're going throughout the day, it's really scary, and it's really dark mansion that you're in. Luigi's mansion.
Oh.
No. But it's rainy, and it's just really dreary and weird inside of this. And you find the master. You find the man that owns the place, and he's dead, like rotting, and he's dead, and he's sitting in a chair at the dining room table. And so the first daily ritual of this, not ritual, I don't know why I thought of that. I mean, kind of like a ritual. What do you call it? The first chore, the routine. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Is to bring a cup of tea to him, and so he's sitting at this table, and it's just full of teas on saucers, like 100 of them, on the table.
That's so funny.
Or maybe not 100, it's something like that. And they're all stacked and stuff. And the robot thinks that the guy's alive, and he won't accept the fact that he's dead. And so, so you can't, and like your robot has a character. There's a lot of voice acting in this game. I feel like I needed to say that. Sorry. Like it's almost all voice acted.
That's nice.
In fact, it is all voice acted. It has text on the screen too, but it has subtitles. But it is voice acted, and it's good, and it's great actually. It's not bad. It's good voice acting, and so you go through, and it's just the robot is creepy. The robot butler is creepy. Your AI is obviously a good guy, and or she's a girl. She has a girl voice, but you know, she's like, she tells the butler, you know he's dead, and no, he's fine. He'll get up sometime, and
just taking a nap.
Yeah, and so you go, and then you find the wife, and she's in her room on a chair, like by like mirrors, like putting on makeup, and she's dead, and she's like rotting. And so the other thing is putting on makeup. That's what the robot does every day on her dead corpse. So it's creepy, you know what I mean? Like, it is creepy, and so you have to. So basically, like, one instance. This is more spoilers, but just because for the sake of the podcast, you send him into a machine, and then you write a letter, actually, to him, and so then when he comes back out, the butler sees, finally my master, she woke up, and she wrote something to me. So, and then that changes, and so you're basically trying to fool the butler. And anyway, this is all with your standard like adventure game ideas, where okay, I need to do this to do that, and bring that to this and that. And it's really, I don't know, I played it with my wife, and I really enjoyed it, and I think she enjoyed it as well. It was fun. I mean, of course, and like I said, we had the projector and the no lights at night, so it was, in like the surround sound, and it was great. So
I feel like we need to make a tally on how many times you mentioned that projector.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait till you come.
Best purchase of my life.
No, you're gonna understand. You're gonna understand when you come. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So, and then you'll be saying, "Remember when we were down on the projector?"
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna count the many times you mention it."
Well, I tell you what, this game does not sound like it is for me. Adventure games, man, just not my cup of tea,
I hear you. No, I hear you too. I mean, like, I've never been into adventure games. I mean, really, the only ones I've ever really played is Stick It to the Man, and The Fall, and I mean, I'm probably missing one, but I haven't played a lot of them at all. I mean, really.
Yeah.
So I get it. I'm not like any of those, like Monkey Island or whatever those guys that did. I just didn't grow up with them at all, and yeah. So I totally hear you. I would say though that if you kind of treat it kind of like a Netflix movie, like instead of a game, like sitting maybe with Kate and like solving stuff together, that's what we did, and I had a blast doing that. So if you kind of think of it like, well, this might not be a game to play by myself, but maybe
yeah,
play with someone else or a group of people.
See, the problem with adventure games for me is I'm just not smart enough. So it might not actually be bad.
Well, that's the thing.
She'd be the brains, and I would just be the skill, if you will,
controller,
the technical skill to be able to make what she needs happen. But
right,
yeah, no,
that's exactly what Jill was. Because like she thought of most of the solutions, and I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that,
I never think of the solutions. Yeah. that or I think of it very first thing, and I try it and it doesn't work, and I go, well, it must be wrong. Let me try 14 million other different things. Then I look it up, and then it's like, oh no, you just had to move a little bit over to the side to click it. And like,
yes. But see, what's funny? It's funny because like this is a mostly adventure game, and it has some action sequences. But think about like Zelda, like Ocarina of Time. That's an adventure game. You don't know it because it's like it's part of this experience, but there is a lot of that just in the dungeons and like in itself. But like
I feel like those are like more like upfront puzzles. Like I feel like in adventure games they're always obtuse.
Dude, Majora's Mask is
Majora's Mask might be a little bit more.
No, yeah, but even
like Ocarina of Time and like other Zelda games with puzzles, it's like I wouldn't consider those adventure-y.
I think that you're discounting it. Is more because I think they are. They're just that's not the main focus. They just have adventure game elements in them. But I mean, it's packed. It's pegged as an action adventure game, and you don't even think about it as like that, but it is. And anyway, that was just kind of an idea I thought of, because you are doing a lot of that, taking like, coming up with, okay, what do I do with this? And like Ocarina of Time, I gotta hatch the egg and then like bring it to the guy that's sleeping at the castle on the job.
That dirty dog.
Yeah. But anyway, that was the Fall Part 2, Unbound. I think it's called. Yeah, I'm a little fuzzy today. I'm sorry.
You big fuzzball.
Yeah. But yes, we also got a code from them for that game. So thank you for that.
We're rolling in the codes this week.
Yeah. But what else do we got on the docket?
We've got one of the best games on the Switch to talk about. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
Throwing it out there. This game is
Casey.
incredible. And that game is Bayonetta.
Vroom in
I just heard like vroom. I was like, what's he talking about?
That's what I said. Vroom in the. Remember downloading that in the hotel?
Oh, I sure do. I was excited to play it.
Signing up for that.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was like, ooh, this game looks like it could be interesting. It surely was something.
Oh my goodness, that's so fun. I think I remember like you texted. I got back to like off the airplane, texting me like, dude, Vroom is so bad.
It was the first clinker on the eShop, and it didn't take long.
It was just so funny because you were so innocent and naive before.
Yep.
We all were.
Now we're seasoned veterans.
But anyway, yes. If anyone couldn't tell, you said that you've been playing Bayonetta.
Yes, sir. That's right. Now, I actually did this for review for Nintendo World Report. You could check it out over there, or you could check out the video review on Nintendo World Report TV on YouTube. But let me just say, I was a little worried when I first, sort of got the review code. I was like, okay, I've played Bayonetta 2, love it. Bayonetta 2 is a phenomenal game. And I was like, I know Bayonetta 1 had, like, people thought very highly of it. But everything you heard was just like, Bayonetta 2 is just, you know what I mean? Like, that's the one.
Way better.
I think the sentiment all over the internet is like, if you're going to play one, or if you're going to pick one of these games to play Bayonetta 2, Now, that's sort of with good reason, because Bayonetta 2 is, quite frankly, one of the best games, like, out there. I mean, as far as character action goes, it is, top-notch. I don't think it gets better than Bayonetta 2, but that shouldn't mean that you should sleep on Bayonetta 1, because this game's incredible. Like I said, I was a little worried it might feel a little dated, or, might not look as nice, but honestly, when you get into that game, almost immediately, like, I was like, wow, this does not look like a game that's nearly a decade old. It came out in 2009 originally,
Really?
So this is, now I'm pretty sure they did some little update, graphically, or at least resolution-wise, when it ported to the Wii U. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. But regardless, it looks phenomenal. And when you get playing, it is just so much fun. Now, for those who don't know, it's a character action game, so it's just, you're going to get in there, and essentially it's mission-based, and when you go on each mission, it's sort of like you start from point A, you're going to get to point B, and along the way, you're going to be going through some really crazy scenarios and some really interesting areas to explore. Like I said, it's mostly pretty linear, so you're not necessarily going out and exploring as you would in, like, an open world game or something like that. But, like, there's still areas a little off the beaten path you can go and find some secrets. But as you go through each level, it sort of works like, it's almost just like, all right, so you're doing a little exploration. Maybe you solve, like, a very simple puzzle, to sort of progress. Then all of a sudden you're going to get to a point where, like, it very much throws, like, a magical seal in front of the exit, and all of a sudden enemies sprout up. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through and take out all those enemies, and then when that's done, it breaks open that area and you push forward. As you go through any given level, there's maybe 6 to 10 of these little spots where enemies start coming out at you from varying degrees. Sometimes it will be literally just a pack of relatively weak enemies to sort of deal with. Sometimes it's a big hulking boss. Sometimes it's a big boss, and then you're like, oh man, all right, I got to fight him, and then they throw another one of that boss in there.
Isn't it a big part of the game? Is big bosses, like big enemies.
Yeah, I mean the game's outrageous. It is so over the top with everything it does. So I mean,
because this is from the Beautiful Joe. I mean,
yeah,
right?
Platinum Games.
They came from Clover.
Yep.
Now, just real quick, it's so crazy. Were you going to talk about the look of the game?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just talk then. You go ahead.
Yeah, so as I was saying, it's sort of over the top in every facet of the game. So, I mean, it's most prevalent with just Bayonetta herself. I mean, when you look at her, she's like super sexualized. She's a witch. She's sexy and she knows it. There's sexual innuendo jokes and all that jazz. It's very, for instance, when she's like doing combos, and that's, again, like when you fight these enemies, there's combos. So you get sort of your kicks, your punches, you can jump, and, hitting kick, punch, kick, and then all of a sudden, at the end of that little combo, she'll do like an extra little spurt, and like, if it's like a kicking attack, like a big demon like foot will come out and like kick her in the face, kick the enemy in the face, right? And it's got like the stiletto
Smash
heels.
Bros.
Yeah, exactly like that. That's her move,
Gotcha.
So, and when she does that, like her clothes like morph into that big fist, so she gets like near naked, So it's very over the top. This would be one of those games you definitely don't want to play with like a child around, and you might get some strange looks from your girlfriends or your boyfriends if you're playing this weird, strange game. Because
did you get a strange look from your girlfriend?
No, Caitlin, actually, she laughed at a couple parts because as over the top it is with all that stuff, it's over the top in its story and its dialogue as well. From both just like crazy, weird scenarios you find yourself into, just very stupid, funny little things.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you know what the story is about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, Bayonetta is, you find out she was woken up 20 years ago from like a 500-year slumber, or I think she was actually revived, but either way, she's brought back to life from the bottom of the river. She was in like a casket. They bring her out, she's back, and now she doesn't have any memories of her past, but she has one of the eyes of the world, and it's sort of where the game picks up. Like, they give you a little tiny bit of background, then they open up, then you find out like the other eye of the world is in this area, like you're sort of told, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna go find it, and then along the way she's trying to sort of remember who she is and her past, and she runs into some characters that know her, but she doesn't exactly remember how they play into the story and how it matters to her, and then it is a little confusing to follow some of the story stuff because when they're talking about like the Umbral Witches and the Lumen Sages and stuff, a lot of this happens during like battles and stuff. So it's hard to sort of pay attention to making sure you don't get hit and die and take any damage, and also sort of take in the story as well. But what's nice is as you travel around, there are like little books and documents you sort of find on the way, and that sort of gives you some more context about what's going on and sort of the history between those two things, because it's very much like this, the Lumen Sages and the Umbra Witches are very opposed to each other. Obviously the Sages are light, the Witches are sort of the dark, and it's just different worlds sort of going on at the same time. Like, it is definitely sort of hard to follow a little,
Yeah.
You're probably going to want to do a little reading on the side if you really, really want to, like...
Have you read the novels?
I have not. Are there novels, or is that a joke?
That was a joke, but there probably are novels.
It wouldn't surprise me. But what the main draw, I mean, is just the combat is so much fun. So, like I said, you sort of get into these areas, and you got to beat up the enemies, and you're sort of graded on each little, like how I said, you sort of get into that pit stop of where they're enemies, and you can't really go forward without killing them all. You'll get a grade for that. Pure platinum, platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and a stone, I think, are the 6. There might be some more, but essentially it's based off your combos, the time it took you to kill, and the damage it took you to, like, that you took. So it's sort of easy to rack up combos, but the tricky part is being able to rack up the combos while not taking any damage. And for me, that's sort of a problem. I get hit a lot because I'm always like, oh, well, I just want to keep trying to pump some more damage in here, and then all of a sudden you get hit. Now, this is probably where the most interesting mechanic comes in, is with the dodging. Now, obviously, dodging, it's good to get out of the way, but if you do it just at the right time, like literally right as the attack is about to land, you dodge it, and you go into witch time, which slows everything down, except for Bayonetta, who can move at her normal speed, and it pretty much just lets you have free reign on these defenseless enemies, you know? And that's really
so
where...
just like Smash.
Yeah, they did a good job of translating
that's cool.
her moveset from her games to Smash, so it's really fun. It's tough. Like I said, I got plenty of stone trophies at the end of each level, because if you die, that really negatively affects your score. So it is a little tricky. There is like the only spot I really felt the game felt a little dated was just with the camera. When you got into some tight areas, it was a little finicky. And like if you wanted to do like a 360 pan of your character, like it gives you a little tugging, like it wants to stay behind her. You know what I mean? Which makes sense with the character action game. A lot of action going on, so you don't want to have like all of a sudden realize, oh, the camera's sort of facing the wrong way in the middle of the battle. So I get why it would sort of tug in maybe a little bit, but honestly, a minor complaint. But I mean,
You hate the game.
I love this game. It was just one of those ones where, like, I got it for review. We didn't get it till launch day, so we got it on Friday. And I got to play, like, a little tiny bit on Friday and Saturday. But then Sunday, I just played, like, 7 hours. And it was one of those ones where it didn't even feel like it. You know what I mean? The missions are so fun, and, it was just great to get in and out. And then just realize, like, oh man, I've been playing for a really long time. There is a little bit of crafting involved when you're going out and picking up. There's just like 3 ingredients essentially, and you can make your lollipops, which either give you health back, like boost up your critical damage, or your damage in general, I should say, and then also gives you like a barrier for a short period of time. So sort of nice to have that little element in there. When you go into the shop, when you kill enemies, they drop halos, and the halos are worth a lot of money when you bring it to the Gates of Hell, which is a bar. And, you can get new items as you unlock weapons. You can pick up weapons. You have your guns, but you could also get, like, swords and claw-like weapons, to name a few. And then what's the most interesting is you could buy techniques, which are what you would imagine. They're just more abilities for Bayonetta to chain into combos and stuff. So it was always fun to sort of pick up halos and then go to the shop and buy some more attacks. But I really,
Gotcha.
I like I said, a lot of people are going to overlook Bayonetta in favor of the second one. And I mean, if it really boiled down to you could only play one and that's that, like, obviously, I'm going to say go with Bayonetta 2. But if you pick them both up, if you get, like, the physical copy and it comes with the download for Bayonetta 1, it really, really is an awesome game. Like, so much so that I canceled, remember, I think I said in the podcast, I had the special edition ordered from Europe, and I ended up canceling that, right? Because I was like, I'm going to save money, and I don't need to play these games right now. Well, I guess I forgot to cancel my Amazon order, and it shipped out, and I tried to cancel it, and it was too late. But now I had so much fun with Bayonetta.
You really gymmed it up.
Yep, I gymmed it up, and I'm going to keep it. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna play Bayonetta 2. You're gonna hear me talk about that in a couple weeks probably. And but the good news is now, since I did this game for review, I have no need for my Bayonetta 1 code. So you know what I'm gonna do?
You're giving it to me.
Nope. You don't get anything, Jimmy. I'm gonna be doing. We're gonna be doing, I should say, a nice giveaway this week. I will post all that information up on Twitter when this launches. So if you're hearing me talk about this now, you can just pop over to Twitter, Talk Nintendo Pod. What is that, Perry? Talk Nintendo POD. So you can check over there for more of the details. But yeah, and we'll probably give that away by the time next episode comes out. So that should be pretty exciting.
Well, good job, Casey.
Ooh-wee.
Wow. Well, I'm good. I'm glad to hear about Bayonetta because I haven't really talked to anyone in depth about it ever. I just heard, oh, it's really good. Like, oh, it's amazing. You know, it's a really good game. I haven't heard anything really about what you do. I remember I played the demo of Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U, and I remember just being like, eh.
You know what it is?
I just whatever.
It takes a little bit of time to sort of get used to how it works because you're going to get your butt kicked early on. And, I mean, there were still points later in the game. I definitely felt myself improving, which is, always a good thing. And that's why I'm sort of excited to ramp that up into Bayonetta 2. Maybe I'll start off much better than I was in the beginning of the first one here. But it takes a little bit of time to sort of get, like, okay, this is how the combos work. All right, like, make sure dodge here, get out of there. It's easy to fall into the trap of just like all out attack. This game's crazy. I'm just going to attack, but it does require more thought behind it. And it took me a little bit of time to sort of, it's easy to realize, okay, I'm getting hit too much. I need to stop and be more careful. But like telling your brain, to do it and then actually doing it are two different things. So, but no, it's honestly so much fun. It's just got me so hyped for Bayonetta 3 now. It's whoo-wee.
Now, are there costumes in the first one?
No. I mean,
no.
I looked at like in the menu, like when you're in the shop and stuff, there's no buying it. I think that is only a Bayonetta 2 thing.
Okay, because you can do that with Amiibo.
Yeah, I think
Bayonetta 2.
Because I think with by the time they brought 1 and 2, I mean obviously 2 came out and they implemented it right away. But I guess it was probably too much of a pain to sort of go back and implement it.
Man, I could
into
have
it
sworn
already.
that they did that though. That's weird. I could have sworn they did that on the Wii U.
Hold on. Well, now you're making me.
Yeah. Yep. It was revealed during the trailer in E3 2014 that the original Bayonetta would be receiving a port for the Wii U, which would include its sequel at release. The port includes some new Nintendo-themed costumes that change certain mechanics of the game, and then it was revealed that these costumes would be included in Bayonetta 2 as well.
Well, we look at that. Well, we'll just have to edit all that out.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I'm looking. Yeah, it's in there. I guess I didn't purchase the correct item that would let me get items, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. We're just...
Oh, that's a shame. But I wish that there was a Beautiful Joe costume.
That would be a good throwback.
Now, I know that I just listened to Radio Trivia with Greg Leahy and TYP, and they mentioned that the Red Hot Kick, there's something like that in Bayonetta or Bayonetta 2 that is from Beautiful Joe. And I'm telling you right now, the Beautiful Joe is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Yeah, I love Beautiful Joe. So, yeah, I would love them if they just made a Beautiful Joe 3. Oh, baby.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah,
Nintendo's rolling right now. They might be.
It's true.
They might be willing to pull some risks here.
Yeah, I just think that I think it's a Capcom franchise, which really sucks. Capcom owns it.
Yeah, so, that would sort of screw everything up.
Yeah, but anyway, cool.
Yeah, Bayonetta, man, check it out for sure.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I believe now we're going to be taking a little break.
Yes, sir. And when we come
All
back,
right.
we got some news.
Boom.
Alrighty, we are back, and as we mentioned before, we're gonna forego the eShop and just get right on into the old news block.
News Talk with Casey Gibson.
Yep, so we've got some news here. We've got a couple things from last week too. Do we want to start with last week's stuff or save that for the end?
You're in charge, bucko.
All right. Well, you already stole one of the stories, and that was that Owlboy would be
Stole.
coming physical on May 29th. So I guess not too much more to say about that. But
Heck yeah.
of course, we heard news of Bandai Namco working on Metroid Prime 4. Now, this was from Eurogamer, who they've been known to break some news with these leaks, and they're generally correct. They're one of the more trustworthy. Yeah, I feel like wasn't the big Nintendo Switch leaked through Eurogamer and stuff? I feel like they've done a bunch of.
I feel like aren't they the ones talking about GameCube Virtual Console?
I don't know. They might be.
Anyway.
Well, hopefully they're right on that. But yeah, so they went on to edit a little bit later more information. They said Bandai Namco Singapore and also Bandai Namco Japan would be working on this. So that's interesting. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's awesome because I completely trust them because of their work on Smash Bros. And their other. I'm not super big on any of their other games, to be honest. Pac-Man versus.
That was a fun game.
It was a great
Some
game.
PAX action.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that they're definitely are capable of making a really cool game and like working. I'm sure they're going to be working with Nintendo.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously. But I mean, even with Retro, I bet they'll be working with them too. Or people that maybe not necessarily Retro, people who are really part of
the Metroid
games. Yeah. So I think this is awesome, and I think it cements the fact that Bandai Namco is now working on a game that I'm very anticipated for, and it leaves all the other Nintendo developers to be doing another thing that I'm really anticipated for, like not Retro. Yeah, Retro. Yeah, like Retro.
Yeah, what are you doing, Retro Studios?
Rare and Retro. Yeah, what are they doing?
E3, man, we got to figure. I was thinking about E3 before, man. My goodness, it's gonna be insane. We're gonna hear more about Bayonetta 3. You're going to hear
I can't believe E3 is almost here.
I know. We're definitely gonna hear about Retro's game. I think we're gonna get the Animal Crossing rundown. I think that's gonna happen. And then honestly, one of the things I'm most hyped about is about Resident Evil 2 Remake. Now, I know that most likely won't be coming to Switch, but my God, I can't wait. That game's gonna be incredible. That's one of those games. Even PS4, I'm gonna be day one on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. That's your franchise, Resident Evil.
I do love it. Now, this next franchise is pretty good too, and that is Mario Kart going mobile. Mario Kart Tour.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm just curious exactly what it's going to be because we don't really know any details aside from that. I believe it will be released before the end of March 2019, so this fiscal year it will be launched.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Outside of that, we don't have any information. There was a logo. I mean, very bare bones logo.
Right.
But yeah, I wonder if...
Yeah, I mean...
How it's going to work.
I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on my Switch, so...
Yeah. Pass.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, I know
I'll
what you
definitely
mean.
try it. And I guess, here's the thing, is, not everyone can bring their Switch with them. I totally get that. And, I can't fit in their pocket, so having something like that on phones is really good. On iPads for little kids and everything, it'll be huge. And to coincide with the movie, excuse me.
No, and it always works. I mean, think of the people at work. You know, you can't really put your Switch on your desk and play Mario Kart 8. But if you got your phone up there, you know, maybe you could sort of play that while you're doing other stuff too. I mean,
No,
I'm just
exactly.
interested. I believe it was already known that it's going to be free to play with microtransactions. Sort of, I think that's going to be the way they're going from now on. Just because if you look at sales between Mario Run and Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing, they're not even close. I mean, they're making a lot of money with that Fire Emblem game. So I think, I think that's going to be the route they go. But moving on to more exciting things, if you ask me. Runner 3 has been submitted to Nintendo. We talked to Jason a couple weeks ago, and he'd mentioned that it was going to be sooner than we were probably thinking. So hopefully, we could be talking a release date, within the next couple weeks. Hopefully, I mean, I should say not released in the next couple weeks, but the launch date.
Yeah. And like I said, they still haven't made that big push with the big trailer. Jason was promising to us that we haven't seen anything of it.
Oh,
so
I can't wait.
That little teasy. So, yeah, and that's coming physical too, and I definitely will be waiting for the physical.
I've got that one I think it was going to be maybe not day and date, but yeah, Runner 3.
Remember, he said he didn't know. So it might be day and date, but we don't even know the date. So how would we know?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. I hope not. I don't like the whole physical releases later, digital now. I guess they have to do that. But it's just unfortunate,
Yeah, because
it makes sense, but it's still unfortunate.
I guess you hate to sit on it for another month or two when you can release it, But
well, speaking of
of
sitting on something and releasing it when it's ready,
that's what this next game should have done.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is that?
That is Rhyme. Now, of course, we were both excited about this game when we first saw it. It looks wonderful. Really nice graphic, or I should say art direction.
Wind Waker-esque.
Yeah, really, really cool. And it released after the other versions. Remember that? There was a little it was only supposed to be a couple weeks after the release on the other consoles. Then it was pushed back like a couple months, and then it released, and it was horrific as far as how it ran on the Switch. It looked bad. It was choppy.
It just had choppy frame rate.
It almost was, not worth playing bad, or at least that was the sort of the impression I gathered from people. But they've sent out an update, Perry, and what does this update do?
It fixes a lot of issues that people had. I mean, it really it's like, man, this is really unfortunate that it took you so long to do this. But yeah, I mean, it sharpens the image resolution, increases the view distances, which is awesome.
Big for a game like this. I feel like that's something you want. You want to be able to sort of look out and admire the world.
Yeah, upgraded textures, upgraded lighting, and it definitely a big upgrade on the frame rate. I saw a video comparing both, and it's like, oh man, they weren't kidding about the original. Like, it's super choppy, and it's so much smoother with the update on Switch.
Yeah, I even saw just a side-by-side picture of the character, and beforehand it really did look muddy. It just looked like everything was sort of like blurred together, and now it's a little more crisp, and it's a game now I'm looking forward to playing at some point.
Yeah, and it's like, man, why did they just wait? I mean, this is why Nintendo waits.
Mm-hmm. And you know what?
Games.
It's like they'd already waited. There was already people were already upset that it was not with the other console releases, and then they were upset when they pushed it back. So it was like they were already angry. You might as well just pushed it back a little bit further so it didn't release to such
Well, yeah, and of course, and I'm sure there's a lot of uncertainty of whether they have the resources to even make it better, or even if they know if they will get it to work. And then, if the whole update patch thing, it was so large they didn't know if it'd get approved by Nintendo. So, there's so many factors that go into it. So many. So all I'm saying is I'm so glad I picked it up for $15 physical at Target the other day, and I'm so happy that I'll be able to play it in this way. And man, it has an awesome logo and an awesome box art. It looks so cool on my shelf.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, this next bit of news here, I believe this wasn't last week we talked about. We talked about this a while ago, the possible rumor of the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming to the Switch. A pre-order popped up on the Spanish website Extra Life, that Crash Bandicoot Insane. Excuse me, Insane. It's weird saying they spell it N.SANE.
Yeah.
Insane Trilogy. For the Switch, so another bit of rumor. I mean, that might at this point be something we see at E3 as sort of like a minor, like filler between the two big ones. But
I really thought that Sony was involved in this game.
You know what? It's Naughty Dog.
Yeah, you're right.
I guess I know Naughty Dog is sort of like, I feel like there's sort of like a second. Second party developer for them, but I guess maybe not technically.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they do the Uncharted and the Last of Us games, but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe they just figured like, hey, Sony, we're gonna keep keep giving the big boy, games to you, and then this is sort of just, we're gonna make money off this. We want to release it on everything.
Because I know there's been Crash Bandicoot games like on
the DS,
consoles, on Nintendo stuff. Right, there's been like shoot-offs and even maybe some like main series games on there. So
yeah, no, I mean,
to think about.
Yeah, it's definitely strange, but because like you said, you sort of synonymous with Sony back in the day. But I guess I mean, hey, more solid games coming to the Switch.
Halo for the DS.
Yeah, remember that.
That's great. I have to ask you, are you interested in this at all?
No.
No? Okay.
No, yeah.
I'm a little interested just for the sake of history. I never played one before, so...
I've played a little bit of it. I remember in college, the girls across the hall had like a PS1, and I forget which one it was, but I remember playing a little bit there, but yeah, I mean, they're fun, but just not fun enough that I really care to dig deep into them,
Right. Gotcha.
Speaking of collections, we've got another one here, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2. The 30 games announced for 30 Mega Man games announced for the Switch. They're all coming.
Here's 10 of them or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is coming physically. This includes, and this is the unfortunate part, is that includes the Mega Man Legacy 1 on the cart, and then it's a download code for the Collection 2. Mm-hmm. Which is so weird.
You know what?
So stupid.
Well, I was initially thinking the same thing, but then when I was reading on Reddit about it, someone pointed out that it was most likely because I guess the first collection is like less than a gig, like 500 or 600 megabytes, and then the second collection is actually like 5.5, so between 5 and 6 gigs. So likely their thought was, hey, we can get the super cheap Switch cart and just put Mega Man 1 collection on there, and then this way we avoid having to get like a 7 or 8 gig.
Well,
I guess it'd be 8 gig cart, but
no, of course that's what it is. I hate that. That's so lazy and cheap and stupid, and then it ruins their box art. Ugh, with that nasty banner on the top of the stupid case. I will not buy one of those ever. I will not buy one. I refuse. It is ugly. It is stupid. That is dumb. And they don't need to put that on there. That is dumb.
Except they do. They do have to put that on there, dude. Because you've got to think, not everyone is like us.
Doom didn't put it on there.
They put something on there.
No, they didn't. I'm staring at my Doom case right now. There's no ugly, stupid banner on there.
Hold on one second.
And you need the Doom. You need the patch, the super big like 7 gig patch, to do online. So, didn't need to happen.
You know what? Yeah, I'm trying to think what the Mega Man collection looks like, because I know with Resident Evil Revelations, they did it because
ruined.
that second game is like 30 gigs, which I think the reason they did it is because you like can't download it with just the standard SD card, you know?
Yeah.
Like you literally need to buy. So I think that's why they're like, we're gonna make this big and ugly and right in your face, because when
Well, they should have just paid for the separate card or something, or made a bigger card, because that's stupid, and it makes everything look stupid. And it's
you know what
so
though,
annoying.
the 95 well, probably more than that, 99% of the time those cases are tucked away in a nice little pile anyway, so you're not gonna see it.
See, I displayed mine up on my shelf, like I have
Faces
them all
out,
so I can see all the.
You better
Yeah,
take a
but
picture and send that to me, because I'm curious to what that looks like.
I will. I'll do that when we're done. But anyway, I think it's cool. I honestly, and this might sound really silly and stupid to most people, but I really am disappointed that they do that. Like, I hate that. I hate that.
I mean, it definitely makes it look worse. I will, without
Okay.
it, like, I'm no
Yeah.
doubt, you know,
Yeah,
disagreeing
yeah.
with you on that, but I
I just wish
understand why
could be
they
a
do
little
it.
more subtle. No, I understand why, but again, it's like I get it. It's still stupid, and I hate to be that kind of a person, but
What you
it's
got to
bad.
do is you got to
It's
get
unfortunate.
David Lloyd to print you up a new one. I'm
I
sure he'll be
do.
able to pull that off, and then you can just
Yep, in like
get rid of
5
the old one.
minutes.
Yeah.
Here you go. Yeah. Anyway, now speaking of Doom, I didn't even mean to.
Yeah, that was a beautiful segue.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
And it's
so,
funny, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, they just came out with a cool update, like a crazy out of nowhere. This is insane update.
Well, remember we did mention that that the Doom update was coming. Although I think that was on last week's deleted episode, if you will. They did mention that an update was coming, but I don't think anyone had ideas exactly as grandiose as what they delivered here.
Yeah, I had no clue this was coming. So, I mean, yeah, well, what is it? What was the big thing?
New DLC skins. I'm just kidding.
Man.
Motion controls, man. Splatoon-like motion controls. I almost called them Splomotion
Interesting.
controls.
So, yeah, I like that. Splomotion.
Yeah, so they showed a little video on Twitter, and it's in handheld mode, and it's just like Splatoon, where you sort of move around, and you've got motion controls, and it helps with the
Well, it's
aiming.
not just motion controls. Yeah, I mean, a kit from the Nintendo Minute, right? That's that.
Yep,
right?
yep.
It said, just fool around with this for a bit. It's a great way to play for a game of this speed. Motion and sticks are used together for precision aiming. When using the Joy-Con, motion is only on the right controller. This is how I'll be playing from here on. So it's like the Wii. It's like Wii controls almost.
Yeah, well, yeah, in that sense, and that makes perfect sense. And like, it feels like that would be what would be closest to like a mouse, you know, and keyboard, because you'd still have the precision of moving around, you know, with the left stick moving your character, but then also having like just the free reign of the motion control on the right. I need to download this patch and test it out, because that sounds really cool.
Yes. Well, the thing that I really want to test out also with you is the new party system that makes it easier to group up with friends. It's funny because we still haven't even played Doom together.
I know, it's so
Because we're so packed. Our schedules are so packed.
Well, I tell you what, after this week, I'm slowing down, and I think we'll have to get some good multiplayer gaming in for sure.
Definitely. So,
but speaking of your icons and how important the box art and such is to you,
yes,
a new updated game icon that matches the actual box art itself.
Yeah, it looks great. And to be honest, I don't remember what the icon. I mean, I guess I can look on my Switch, but I thought that's what the icon was. I love the Doom box art. It's so epic and so cool looking. I love the logo. I love the colors. So yeah, I'm glad they did that. Like, if you look at the I bet it was the
What
it was like the PS4 box art.
Yeah, it's got.
If you look at that.
Yeah, it's got that one like skeleton with the jetpack kind of thing on his back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
it looked.
yeah,
I
that-
think that looked really cool too. But
Oh,
I
sure,
do
that was
like
great.
the change.
I like the Switch
I like
cover
the change.
better.
I like
Yeah,
the Switch,
yeah.
if you will.
That was good.
Now, also,
Yeah.
they increased, there's some other things here. Increased average resolution in lower res areas of the game. They implemented some CPU optimizations. They, very important one, they added traditional Chinese language support and just fixed a number of bugs that were reported throughout. So it's funny because I know sort of the sentiment with Bethesda is like, oh, they release games and they sort of just forget about them. Obviously Skyrim's been released like 45 times, and there are bugs that were in the original that are still in these remasters and re-releases. So it seems like they're sort of a company that just is like, whatever, like we're done with the game, sort of wash our hands. But it's nice to see them go back and do such a hefty update with the like. If they did everything else without the motion controls, I would be like, okay, that makes sense. Like, oh, they sort of upgraded the party system. That makes sense. They did some things to make it run a little better. But the motion controls, that was probably not something they just were like, hey, let's just do it one day and it works. That there was some time that went into that.
Yeah, can't wait to try it out.
And it makes you wonder, that's another very interested thing I'm with E3 is Bethesda, because they seem to be fully on board with the Switch. Obviously they released a couple games here.
Fallout's definitely coming.
We've got Wolfenstein 2 still probably this year, I'd imagine. So I'm curious.
Isn't that coming soon?
I mean, it should be. I imagine if we don't hear anything before E3, like there absolutely have to be a release date, and I would imagine it'd be one of those like you could get it in July, like a month later. But I'm super excited. Like they're probably gonna reveal some new games, I would imagine. I don't know if it's confirmed if they have a press conference or not, but with their support of the Switch, who knows if they have a new IP, or like you said, maybe it's the next Fallout or whatever have you. I wonder if it's going to be coming to the Switch as well.
I hope so. Man, Wolfenstein. I forgot about that.
I'm super pumped for Wolfenstein.
Yeah, man. Wow. Oh, which is so good because
games
there's just
galore.
Not a lot of games on the Switch.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to finally get something.
I know. Finally dust off the Switch.
Wii U?
Like there's any chance for dust to settle on that puppy.
Oh man. Yeah.
Anyway,
all right. Well, that clears it up for the news, right?
Yes, sir. That's gonna put a bow on her, if you will.
And it's also gonna put a bow on this episode of Talk Nintendo Podcast.
But what about all the games you guys were gonna talk about afterwards?
We were, but Perry's getting sick and he needs to go to bed so he can wake up and go to work.
Honestly, we squeezed
Super
in
early.
most of the important games. I was just going to touch on Radiant Historia, which I've already sort of talked about. I could give my final words on that next week. I've got a couple other games to talk about too. So
yeah.
And then next week we're knock on wood, we're gonna get back to a good old fashioned what we've been playing, eShop news topic. Boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Back to our bread and butter, if you will. Now, before we close out here, of course, check us out on Twitter at Talk Nintendo Pod. What is that, Perry?
Talk Nintendo POD.
You can check their Twitter for all of the information on the Bayonetta 1 giveaway. It is going to be a North American code, just a heads up, but we'll have all that information on there for you guys to check out.
Now, but people from but you can still download it.
Oh yeah, I mean as long
other regions, yeah. Yep. I just thought about that.
Yeah, as long as you are willing to set up a North American eShop account, then we can get you that code. So you don't necessarily have to live in North America. You just gotta have an account. But yeah, really great game. So I'm looking forward to giving that away and hearing what whoever wins has to say about it. But I think that's
I'm gonna enter.
I think that's pretty much all we gotta say. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna put a bow on this episode.
Beautiful. All right, Casey. Well, I'll see you next week.
Until next time, guys.
Oh, Casey, what'd you think about the stinger last week?
Oh. Well, you know what? Hey, if you need to take pot shots while I'm not here to make yourself feel better about your inferior soft drink, you know, you gotta do you, man. I'm just gonna be
Casey, while you're just talking right now, like it was cutting out. So I just heard like, you're like, well, if you hit pot shots, I'm just gonna be Pepsi.
that's so funny. Well, you'll hear the real version when you edit it. So.
Yeah, that's right.
But hey, if that's what you got to do to rest easy at night, Perry,
I'll
be
what's so
your
funny
punching
about
bag.
that? The funny thing is like I was like, okay, let's see if we can pull one over on old Casey, and I kid you not, like 30 minutes later, someone's like, wow, you know,
Yeah, tagged me in
like,
it. So I was like,
yeah,
oh.
it's like, okay, well, it's like I don't even know how you got to the end that fast, but
They were just
anyway,
like,
it's fun.
I bet you that dirty dog Perry is probably gonna put a pot shot in here. I better listen. Alrighty. Well,
I liked it.
We
Good old
got some
Biz.
games to go play, so we better do that. Perry's got some rest to
right.
catch up on.
Thank you.
Alrighty, everyone. Thank you, and again, we will see you next week.
Giddy up.
Oh, I thought you were too good for your 3DS these days, bruh.
That owl ain't right.
Doomhammer.